When the idea of building a tunnel beneath the English Channel was first proposed in 1802, many dismissed it as pure fantasy. Nearly 200 years later, one of Europe's most ambitious construction projects begins. A 50-kilometer tunnel beneath the sea. 3 tubes, "75 meters below the seabed, built by two nations that had fought each other for centuries. Many experts considered it technically impossible. Others called it economic suicide. Today, high-speed trains cross beneath the sea in just 35 minutes. How did this vision become a $15 billion mega project? Trust beneath the sea. The idea was old, very old, but the world had changed. In the 19th century, the tunnel had been rejected out of fear. Too risky, too political, too dangerous. Britain feared it could one day serve as an invasion route. France feared economic dependence. Both sides distrusted each other more than they admitted, and that was the real obstacle, not the seabed, but the mindset. By the 1980s, the balance had shifted. Europe was becoming more economically integrated. Free trade gained importance. Speed became essential. Suddenly, a tunnel was no longer a military risk, but an economic advantage. Even so, the project remained controversial. Construction costs were enormous. The risks unknown. Failure would consume billions. In 1975, an earlier attempt had already collapsed when financing fell apart. The memory was still fresh, and this time, a remarkable decision was made. The tunnel would be entirely privately financed. No public money, no government guarantees. Investors would carry the full risk. Some called it bold, others reckless. Yet this structure made the project politically viable. No government would be directly responsible for potential losses. In 1986, the Treaty of Canterbury was signed. Britain and France formally committed to the project. A historic vision became a concrete plan. Technically ambitious, financially daring, politically sensitive. And as two nations agreed to a project once considered unthinkable, a new question emerged beneath the English Channel. Could they meet under the sea, to the centimeter? In 1988, construction officially began. 2 tunnel boring machines on the British side, 2 on the French. Beneath the sea, no visual contact. Only calculations, measurements, and trust. This was no longer about diplomacy. It was a bet on precision. And as the cutting heads advanced through chalk and clay, it became clear. From this point on, politics would no longer decide. Millimeters would. Beneath the sea, every millimeter counts. Because beneath the English Channel, there's no second chance. The tunnel boring machines carved their way through chalk and clay from opposite sides, separated by kilometers of rock. No visual contact, no GPS signal, only calculations. A small error, and the tunnels would miss each other entirely. Months passed, day and night. The machines advanced. Then came the breakthrough. The deviation, less than 1 centimeter. For the first time, the impossible seemed achievable. But while the engineering succeeded, another problem grew. Construction costs rose far beyond original estimates. Financing became increasingly complex and fragile. The tunnel was not yet open, and already heavily burdened by debt. Financial models had to be renegotiated. Ownership structures adjusted. Repayment schedules extended. The question was no longer whether the tunnel could be built, but whether it could survive financially. And yet, construction continued. Too much capital had already been invested, too much political weight committed, too many expectations created. In 1994, the tunnel officially opened. The vision was built, but whether it would endure remained uncertain. From risk to lifeline. 2 years later came the moment many had feared. In 1996, a major fire broke out aboard a shuttle train. Flames tore through rail cars. Thick smoke filled one of the tunnel tubes. Traffic came to a halt. Now it would become clear whether years of planning had been more than theory. Fire sections held. The separate tunnel tubes prevented wider spread. Evacuation passages allowed safe escape. The tunnel was severely damaged. It remained structurally intact. What some had seen as a vulnerability became proof of its safety design. The fire was not a setback. It was a turning point. Since then, the tunnel has been continuously upgraded. Today, thousands of sensors monitor every movement within the structure. Temperature, pressure, vibration. Irregularities are detected before they become critical. Control centers respond within seconds. Safety procedures are tested regularly. Systems are modernized rather than replaced. The Channel Tunnel is no relic of the 1990s. It is a digitally managed, continuously monitored transport system. More than 20 million passengers use this connection every year. In addition, it serves as one of Europe's most important freight corridors. And that is the true measure. What once seemed like a reckless idea has become indispensable. More than 400 trains pass through this tunnel every day. Passengers, food, medicine, energy supply chains. Beneath the English Channel run not only railway tracks, but also data and power connections between Britain and the continent. A single bottleneck, a single choke point. Militarily sensitive, economically essential, technically complex. The more Europe becomes interconnected, the more it depends on structures like this. And today, the question is no longer whether we can build beneath the sea, but what happens if one day this connection fails?